Mrs. Lindsay, members of the city government, Cadet Strauser, and children and students who have honored us today, my friends of America, ladies and gentlemen, please accept through me the gratitude and greetings of 32 million Filipinos who live in a distant land, in a land that you may call another world, but it is a land dedicated to liberty and freedom, a land that has a long history of love for individual dignity and the equality of all men. The history of my country denotes that as far back as several centuries before my namesake Ferdinand Magellan discovered these islands, the Filipino people had fled from the tyranny of the Majapahit Empire to the south and landed in these islands which they called the land of the free. And the Tagalog term, or the term in my national language, Malaya, means freedom. So even before we knew the West, we knew too freedom. But over this foundation of Oriental culture, touched by the Arabic, the Hindu, and the Chinese civilization, was the overlay of Western culture introduced by the Spaniards as well as the Americans. My country, too, was the first in Asia and Africa to mount an anti-colonial revolution against a monarchy. It was the first in Asia and Africa in 1898 to proclaim a republic. My country today is an English-speaking country. We have our own national language, but the medium of instruction in our schools is English. And anywhere you go, you will feel that you are at home, for everybody would understand you and there would be no language barrier. I am happy to be here in New York, and against the towering and looming shadows of your spires, towers, and buildings of heroic proportions indicative of your character and your civilization, I am deeply touched that there should be this honor that has been awarded us and offered us by the students of New York City. In this city that is known for being the center of finance, of business, and all the hardness that go with these activities, we have here a touching scene of the children meeting us. Mrs. Marcos thanks this little girl, I don't know what her name is, this lovely little girl, Cynthia, for the flowers that have been given to her. She accepts these flowers as symbolic of the friendship, the amity, and the partnership between the two countries. And it is but proper that they should be extended by a young girl. For it has been said properly by the great authors that if one must see beauty, one should see them through the eyes of youth. And certainly here we have a young girl, through whose eyes we hope we see the beauty of New York. And as we see New York now, especially under the leadership of your great mayor, we see a city that has a heart. And there are very few cities, I assure you, that has a heart. The Empire City of New York is a city that has a heart, as we have discovered. And we thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having shown it to us. The world truly belongs to the young. And sometime later on, perhaps a more enlightened age, a more enlightened generation shall come to own this world. And for them, there may be no hunger, there may be no war, there may be no ignorance, there may be no disease. This is our prayer. And for this, we of the present generation shall work. It is our hope that when we hand over to you the legacy and the tradition of humanity, that legacy and tradition will be the better and will have been much more worthy of you than when we received it from our forebears. To the young, therefore, again, I say thank you, and to the New Yorkers and everyone in America, mabuhay, good luck, and thank you very much.
New York is a fun city. New York, #1 city. Broadway, Opera, Sheila Mess, Yankees, Rangers, and the Jets. Uptown, downtown, have a ball while the lights burn bright at City Hall. New York is a fun city. New York, #1 city. Let's put wings on the town that swings. Fun city, fun city, fun city. New York. New York is a fun city. New York, #1 city. Broadway, Opera, cheer the Mets. Yankees, Rangers, and the Jets. Uptown, downtown, have a ball while the lights burn bright at City Hall. New York is a fun city. New York, #1 city. Let's put wings on the town that swings. Fun city, fun city, fun city. New York.